Today, I'm going to be talking about the global reactions to the India's actions against Pakistan in Operation Sindoor. Hello, I am a global nationalist. I support nationalism in my country, India, and in all countries around the globe. Today, I'm going to be talking about Indian nationalism with respect to current events. The current event for this week was India's Operation Sindoor against Pakistani terrorist organizations like the Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. I previously have mentioned about the Pahalgam attack in Jammu and Kashmir, where 26 people were killed by Islamic terrorists, and uh, this Operation Sindoor was a response to that attack, and I want to show how the rest of the world reacted to this and how I think this will affect India's foreign policy going in the future. Without further ado, let's get started. The 2025 Pahalgam attack was an attack on non Muslim tourists by five armed militants near Pahalgam in the Indian administered Jammu and Kashmir, in which 26 civilians were killed on 22nd April 2025. They targeted Hindu tourists, though a Christian tourist and local Muslim were also killed in the attack. The Resistance Front, which is believed by Indian authorities to be an offshoot of Pakistan-based UN-designated terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba, initially claimed responsibility for the attack. 4 days later, they retracted their claim of responsibility. Previously, TRF has claimed responsibility for several attacks on Indian-administered Kashmir. The fact that they've claimed previous attacks and they never retracted them shows that I think that they were responsible for them, and that this retraction was just done to make themselves look not guilty because they knew India was going to react. The militants singled out the men and asked for their religion before shooting the Hindu and Christian tourists. So it was clearly a terrorist attack aimed at non Muslims. And now let's see how the world reacted to this terrorist attack. India's neighbors condemned the Pahalgam attack. The Mauritius Prime Minister Navin Chandra Ramgoolam and Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli were among the leaders of regional countries that called Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday to offer condolences and condemn the attack. China, another neighboring country, also strongly condemns the attack in Pahalgam. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhou Jiakun told a media briefing, "We resolutely oppose all forms of terrorism, extend our condolences to the victims, and express sincere sympathy to the bereaved families and injured." Sri Lankan President Anurag Kumara Dissanayake denounced the attack in a social media post. "I condemn in the strongest terms the cowardly terrorist attack in India. Our hearts are with the victims and their families. Sri Lanka always stands in solidarity with the people of India." Bangladesh's foreign ministry issued a statement that strongly condemned the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir and resulting in the tragic loss of innocent lives. Bangladesh reiterates its unwavering commitment to the global fight against terrorism. So this shows that even though Bangladesh has bad relations with India at the moment, it still sympathized with India in this attack. Bhutan and considered it a terrorist attack. It didn't shy away from using those words. Bhutan Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay conveyed his condolences to the victims and others affected by the horrific terrorist attack in Pahalgam in a social media post. Bhutan strongly condemns such brutal acts of terror and stands firmly with the government and people of India in solidarity and friendship. How do countries outside of the subcontinent react? Let's see how Trump to Meloni reacted. Donald Trump said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the incredible people of India have full support of the US and deepest sympathies that the United States stands strong with India against terrorism. We pray for the souls of those lost and the recovery of the injured. So it's a very strong statement, very much connected to in being India's being a friend of America. Russia's president uh, through his Russian embassy made comment. Please accept the deepest condolences over the tragic consequences of terrorist attack near the town of Helgam that claimed the lives of civilians, citizens of various countries. There can be no justification for this brutal crime. We expect that its sponsors and perpetrators will be duly punished. This is a supportive statement of them. Not only are they saying we support you again for punishing these people, it's that we expect you to punish. That they think that it would be correct, the morally and legally correct thing to punish the perpetrators. So the complete support for India's counterterrorism initiatives. Prime Minister of the United Kingdom Keir Starmer posted on X, the horrific terrorist attack in Kashmir today is utterly devastating. My thoughts are with those affected, their loved ones, and the people of India. The United Arab Emirates expressed strong condemnation of such criminal acts and its permanent rejection of all forms of violence and terrorism aimed at undermining security and stability and contravention of international law. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who is very popular in India because of Italy's good relations with India, in a post on X said she was deeply saddened by the terror attack and expressed solidarity with the government and people of India. The Iranian embassy said in a post on X, the embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran in New Delhi strongly condemns the terrorist attack in the city of Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, which resulted in the death and injury of a large number of innocent people. Ambassador of France to India said that we gave a strong condemnation of the dastardly attack in Jammu and Kashmir. My thoughts are with the victims and their families. France stands in solidarity with India in the fight against terrorism. And here's what Pakistan said about Pakistan expressed concern at the loss of lives, but did not condemn the attack nor refer to it as a terrorist incident. So yeah, they were very uh, non-committal about the attack, just showing concern for the loss of lives without condemning it, which led to the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict. The 2025 India-Pakistan conflict was a brief armed conflict between India and Pakistan that began on 7th May 2025 after India launched missile strikes on Pakistan, codenamed Operation Sindoor. India stated that the operation was a response to the Pahalgam attack on 22nd April by militants in the Indian administered Kashmir, killing 26 civilians, mostly tourists. According to India, the missile strikes of Operation Sindoor targeted the camps and infrastructure of militant groups Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, and no Pakistani military facilities were targeted. According to Pakistan, the Indian strikes targeted civilian areas, including mosques, killing 31 Pakistani civilians. And so, yeah, this shows that India only attacked terrorist sites. They didn't attack Pakistani military facilities and definitely not at all civilian targets. So I disagree with Pakistan's assessment because uh, in the press conferences by the Indian military, they showed the targets and showed that they were all um, areas that were controlled and used by terrorists for training and recruitment. If civilians were killed, it is only because through collateral damage, India did not deliberately target them. So I disagree with that uh, view from Pakistan. On 10th May, Pakistan launched an operation codenamed Operation Bunyan al Marsus, targeting several Indian military bases. So this shows that they were targeting India's military, which is not what India did. India targeted only terrorist organizations, and Pakistan legally, any country has the right to target other terrorists, even in other countries. Pakistan had no legal right to respond, but only because they don't consider those groups as terrorists. After 3 days of the conflict, both India and Pakistan announced that a ceasefire was agreed, effective from 5 p.m. on 10th May Indian Standard Time, which with talks set for 12th May. Show you. This is from the the government, the newsonair.gov.in. This is the All India Radio website. India's approach has earned its strong backing from the international community to counter terrorism after it launched Operation Sindoor. The countries including USA, UK, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE have supported India's position. The European Union and all 27 member states issued a unified and strong statement. The US President Donald Trump expressed solidarity with India, affirming its sovereign right to combat terrorism while also urging restraint and a diplomatic path forward. UK Foreign Minister David Lammy said India had every reason to be outraged, and former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak asserted that no country should tolerate cross border terror. Russia, while calling for restraint from both sides, made it clear that it condemns all forms of terrorism and is deeply concerned about the military escalation. Israel also stood firmly with India. Its ambassador remarked that terrorists have no sanctuary and supported India's right to defend itself. So India had was support from other countries while they called for uh, de-escalation. They didn't condemn India's action. They didn't tell India, no, 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 don't respond, don't attack, be restrained. They didn't call for peace. They accepted that India was acting in a counterterrorism operation and simply requested both sides to be not escalate the matter. So it was not direct. These reviews were not directly pro-India, but subtly pro-India. Here are the initial responses. United States condemnation and support for India. Immediately following India's announcement of Operation Sindoor, the US condemned the Pahalgam attack and expressed support for India's right to defend itself against terrorism. Call for de-escalation. The US State Department, through spokesperson Tammy Bruce, emphasized that the world rejected the kind of violence seen in Pahalgam and called for de-escalation to prevent further conflict between India and Pakistan. So while they support India's right to defend itself against terrorism, they also call for de-escalation, prevent further conflict. So yeah, and the UK, the European Union, other Western allies said the same similar things. Then in the ceasefire resolution happened from May 10th to 11th. The United States played a pivotal role in mediating the ceasefire, according to them, though India hasn't confirmed this, with President Trump personally engaging with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi after receiving alarming intelligence about the conflict's escalation. Pakistani Prime Minister, this shows that the US called India. India did not call the US. This process of mediation began with the US, not with India. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif publicly thanked Trump for his mediation efforts, highlighting Washington's influence in securing the truce. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri confirmed a ceasefire agreement, though India refrained from acknowledging US involvement publicly, consistent with his opposition to third party mediation. Borders. United Kingdom. Support for ceasefire. The UK welcomed the ceasefire and was acknowledged by Pakistan for its role in facilitating talks. How did BRICS countries respond to Operation Sindoor? Russia, with warm relations with both India and Pakistan, expressed deep concern over the escalating military confrontation. The Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a statement condemning all forms of terrorism, implicitly acknowledging the Pahalgam attack, but called for both nations to exercise restraint to prevent further escalation. This reflected Russia's interest in maintaining strong ties with India, supporting its action against terrorism, knowing that it is a victim, and but also not wanting further escalation. There was no sympathy for Pakistan in this, just kind of some pragmatic views from Russia, telling India to not go too overboard and to Pakistan to not escalate it. And Russia welcomed the ceasefire announced on May 10th, 2025, and supported diplomatic efforts to ensure its implementation. China, Pakistan's closest ally and a major economic partner, described India's strikes as regrettable, but notably restrained its criticism. So, while they described our strikes as regrettable, shows that it is a disapproval of them. It's not saying that they condemn it. They didn't tell India not to uh, perform the strikes. They simply gave a kind of a light-hearted uh, negative statement towards India and mainly to show support to Pakistan. They didn't deliberately try to intervene and restrain India. It shows that they won't completely protect Pakistan in an event like this. Brazil, with no direct strategic stake in South Asia, issued a general condemnation of terrorism in response to the Belgaum attack and expressed concern about escalation following Operation Sindoor. South Africa condemned the Pahalgam terrorist attack and expressed solidarity with India in combating terrorism, reflecting its own history of dealing with security challenges. This shows that South Africa supported India's counterterrorism efforts, but also urged both countries to exercise restraint. That is mostly aimed at Pakistan to not retaliate against India, to not go overboard, react. Turkey and Azerbaijan commended Pakistan's calm. Turkey's Erdogan commended Pakistan's calm and restrained response to the crisis, supported Islamabad's call for an investigation into Pahalgam attack. Azerbaijani products. So this shows that um, that Turkey and Azerbaijan were in support of Pakistan. So Pakistan was not completely isolated. However, the other Islamic countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, called for restraint. Qatar emphasized diplomacy. So, yeah, this shows that while no Islamic country came in support of India, several were neutral and uh, they mainly basically asked both sides to exercise restraint. Iran's top diplomat Abbas Araghchi visited Pakistan to mediate escalating tensions, and he also visited India. In Islamabad, Araghchi met with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, and Army Chief General Asim Munir. He emphasized Iran's commitment to regional peace and highlighted the importance of collaborative efforts to combat terrorism. Visit to India. Following his visit to Pakistan, Araghchi traveled to New Delhi where he reiterated calls for restraint between India and Pakistan. He emphasized the necessity of preventing further escalation in the region and highlighted the importance of regional peace to support economic cooperation. So, in neither of these visits did he condemn either side. What did Saudi Arabia's minister say in his visit to India? Saudi Arabia's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Adel Al Jubair, met with Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. And Jaishankar described the meeting as good. And then he visited Pakistan on May 9th. In India, Minister Al Jubair met with India's Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister. Discussions focus on strengthening bilateral cooperation against terrorism. This shows that India and Saudi Arabia agree with each other on being against terrorism and terrorists, including Pakistani terrorists. In Pakistan, He held talks with Prime Minister Pakistan's leadership, including Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar. The discussions centered on enhancing strategic and economic cooperation with a particular emphasis on counter-terrorism efforts. So, yeah, they are willing to work with Pakistan on counterterrorism, but and Minister Al Zubair acknowledged Pakistan's sacrifice in the fight against terrorism. This is something that Pakistan regularly says, so that it is a victim of terrorism, not a perpetrator, and that it has sacrificed a lot. So this shows that they were trying to get Saudi Arabia's support. Although they didn't get their support, they got neutrality from Saudi Arabia. How was this viewed on X? Among the non-Indian, non-Pakistani ex-users, support for India was significantly higher, 50 to 60%, than for Pakistan, estimated 10 to 20%. Driven by a civilian total Pahalgam attack, India's effective counter-terrorism narrative and diplomatic outreach. Neutral or critical users focused on de-escalation and humanitarian concerns comprised a total notable proportion, 20 to 30%. So yeah, I think India won the perception battle of this on X at least, and in other parts of the internet. I've seen neutral pages on Reddit being supportive of India, and or at least against Pakistan. And what I think about all this is that India has support of most countries. Most countries have suffered from terrorism and know that India and any other country like it has to respond to terrorist attacks. They also don't view Pakistan as innocent. They know Pakistan has supported terrorist organizations before, and so they weren't trying to save Pakistan. However, some intelligence was received by the US, specific and the Vice President J.D. Vance, who had previously said that the US should be out of the conflict. And then it was sent to Trump, who somehow got spooked and got involved and uh, spoke to both countries and uh, got both of them to agree to a ceasefire. That's his statement. But personally, think I'd go with the Indian statement that it was, which said that Pakistan's DGMO asked India's DGMO to stop all hostilities, which India's DGMO agreed to. And I think some people are thinking that the intelligence received by the US was that India had struck an airport base near Pakistan's nuclear facilities, nuclear weapons facilities, which scared Pakistan. And they then spoke to the US, and so the US came and told Pakistan to stop fighting. Pakistan asked India to end the fight, and India agreed. That's what I think happened. Either way, I think that this shows that India's foreign policy is going well. It's not perfect. Countries aren't supporting us directly. They're not saying we support you attacking these terrorists. They are saying that in a diplomatic way. They're not being explicit about, which would be better. They're not condemning Pakistan for not acting against terrorists, but they're asking it to. I think if India continues to engage in this diplomatic outreach, becomes more economically powerful, and improves its diplomatic relations with different countries, it will have better options to isolate Pakistan and make it act against Pakistani terrorists. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. If you want to see other videos about Indian nationalism with respect to current events, click here. If you want to see my previous video, click here. If you want to see the sources I used for this video, click the link in the description below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.